kick this off. I think we've got 1 or 2 other people that are coming, but we'll let them filter in as they get here, and we'll go ahead and get going. So lead generation and prospecting, that's what we're going to focus on today. As you know, in real estate, you are not in business if you don't have any leads or buyers or sellers to be working on. We're going to do a few different things. You guys on Zoom, if you have any questions or anything, feel free at any time to unmute yourself. There's a little microphone button, and so you can unmute, you can ask questions. I want this to be as interactive as possible, so please chime in at any point. So what we're going to cover today is for sale by owners and expired listings. We're also going to talk about open houses. We're going to talk about NEDs, which are notice of election and demand. So when someone hasn't made their mortgage payment for more than 90 days, it means they're going into the foreclosure process, and you guys have access to the information on who those people are. In the event that they have equity in their home, you can help them cash out and move on and not go through that foreclosure. We're also going to talk about print marketing and how you can utilize that for lead generation. We'll talk about social media marketing using Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn for marketing purposes, and then we'll kind of round things out with neighborhood farming and door knocking, and then talk about some other sources of lead generation that you guys have every single day and just may not be cultivating. So that sound good?
Yeah, sounds fabulous-y.
Okay, so let's dive straight in. So the first part of this is I want to talk about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. The methods we're talking about today are kind of your more conventional, regular real estate practices. It's not the Brian Buffini, work with your sphere, talk to the people that you know, that like you, that trust you. These are going to be people who don't necessarily know you. So you're going to possibly be dealing with a little more rejection, showing your value, showing why you are a good positive resource or influence in their transaction. So success is achieved by doing the things that are hard and the things that are outside your comfort zone. So when you're lead generating, know that your infinite potential exists just on the other side of that comfort zone. And oftentimes you will kind of hit up against that barrier, and as things start to feel uncomfortable, I don't want to call that expired listing. I don't want to interact with that for sale by owner. I'm afraid to talk to people. You're going to have to push through that. So identify what your competition is unwilling to do and go after that. Most of the time, you guys are going to do something for a week or two. You might not see results, or you might get a little scared, so you retreat back. Oh, that person hung up on me. Oh, that person closed the door in my face. Don't let that stop you, because your competition's not willing to do it either. And there's so many leads out there that are just untapped, and you guys need to be going after that. Don't be afraid to use the phone. I think a lot of us are kind of standing behind technology. We'd rather text, we'd rather Facebook, we'd rather do those things that don't allow the 100% interaction with the person on the other side. Pick up the phone, because a lot of people aren't doing it. We think, oh, we're going to be bothering those people. Oh, they don't want to hear from us. Oh, they're in the middle of something. Pick up the phone. It should be your weapon of choice. So expired listings, is there anybody that's either listening in or you guys here in the classroom that have tried working expired listings? Have you guys?
We sent a letter, didn't we? Remember?
Yeah, we sent letters.
Twilight.
Yeah, we've sent letters and things to them.
Never hear anything.
Okay, so never, not a super good response.
Zero so far.
Zero response. Okay. All right. Anybody online care to share an expired listing story, or are you guys cultivating or attempting to contact expired listings? No? Okay, so Todd and I, when we moved to Colorado in 2000, we moved here, no friends or family lived here. So we just kind of picked up, moved this direction, and did not have a sphere. So when people were saying, call the people that know you, like you, trust you, find out who they know who's going to buy and sell, that didn't work for us. So we started with expired listings and for sale by owners, and that's how we built our foundation. That's how we built up our client database, and it gave ourselves a sphere. So expired listings, they're hard, they're slightly intimidating, but the thing I love about expireds is they're individuals who already know the value of a realtor. They're not a for sale by owner that you're trying to convince should use a realtor. They've already listed their property. They just, for whatever reason, didn't have success selling the first time. And it could be because they were overpriced. It could be because they were under marketed. Maybe the home wasn't in the most desirable condition or wasn't staged properly, and therefore they missed out on the opportunity of selling. So calling these individuals to find out, are you still interested in selling? And are you interviewing any other realtors? It's not as scary to do. It's not as frightening to do, because it is, in essence, it's not a warm lead, but you're calling with a purpose, you're calling with an intention, and they need somebody's help, whether it's going to be your help or another realtor's help.
How are you getting their number?
So that I'm going to demonstrate. So we actually pull expired listings from RE Colorado, from the MLS. And I will show you how to do that. So we're just going to log straight into RE Colorado right now. And oops. So when you go into RE Colorado, just pretend like you're going to do a regular listing search. So you're going to go into Matrix from your main dashboard, and then you're going to go into search and residential and general. And so over here on the status side in the upper left corner, we normally will mark active, under contract, and sold when we're doing a CMA, but you can mark expired.
Mm-hmm.
I do recommend that there's two different routes you can go. You can either go back and pull expired listings from like 6 months ago to find out, hey, it looks like you guys took your house off the market last fall. Are you interested in capitalizing on the spring selling season? So go back really far in time, or go back a very short number of days, 3 to 5 days. Because typically if someone is interested in selling their home, they are going to relist with another agent quickly. And so if you don't catch them within the first couple days, someone else will have already found them. So let's just type in 3 days because we want the most current information. And you can type in a specific city that you want to focus in on, a certain price range. We're just going to see what comes up in Littleton, in Centennial. I'm going to type those in the city, and maybe we want to go 0 to 900,000. Or if you specialize in luxury listings, maybe you're going to go into that 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. We do tend to see those properties expire more often. So let's take a look at our results. And we've got 4 properties in here that have come up expired. So you can click on each one, learn a little bit about the property. One thing I do recommend that you do is you want to make sure that they haven't already relisted with another agent. If they reactivate or renew their listing with this current agent, it will attach to this MLS number and it would actually show active rather than expired. But you can click on this little clock, the icon that's below the photo of the house, and it will pull up a listing history. And what it shows on here is that the most current list or portion of the history is at the top. So it shows everything that happened from 2018 all the way up to when it expired 3 days ago on the 24th of February.
That's handy, because what we would do is then go back in
and type the address in.
Yes.
And I did that for the longest time, and that's how I did expires, is I had to take this list and then I would go back in, type in the address and see if it was active or if it still showed up expired. But by looking on here, you can see it went from active to expired on the 24th, and if they chose a new agent, signed a new listing agreement, and entered it into the MLS, it would show this history, and it would also give you the new MLS number.
You could also do this further down on the listing, can't you? There's another arrow on the bottom, on the left, further down. The listing brings the same thing up.
So down.
Yeah, click on arrow to view history.
There you go. Click here to hide history. So yep, so it shows all of the history there as well. Yep. I actually didn't know that, Catherine.
Oh,
You're teaching me things. Yeah, so there you go. So let's look at the next one just for sake of discussion, Hunters Hill. One thing I like about this particular one is it shows down here that it went from withdrawn to expired. So for whatever reason, they took their house off the market. They kept the listing agreement with the previous realtor. The previous realtor didn't actually expire out the agreement, and it just popped up expired yesterday. So now these people are free to talk to a new agent if they want to.
So do you think that's because the agent wouldn't let them out of the contract and just made them
It's a
go to
possibility.
withdrawn? And
Yeah,
then
when
wait
you
for it
guys
to
take listing
expire?
agreements and you take it for 4 months and 2 months down the road, the seller says, I've decided I don't want to sell. And you say, well, we're going to keep our listing agreement. In the event you change your mind in the next couple months, you decide to work with me. You will
Yeah.
continue to work with me.
Okay.
But once the contract expires, then if they do want to go a different route, they can. But you guys invest a lot of money in marketing and a lot of time. So, you know, relieving someone of their contractual obligations if they decide to remove the home from the market. It's always good to run the full expiration of that contract so they don't go behind your back and choose another agent because they met them at their son's soccer match or whatever. So this one too is expired. You know, the other nice thing about seeing the history is you can kind of tell, were there any price reductions? You know, what's going on with the property? Did it go under contract and become active again?
The last one was very interesting.
Yes.
Because it's like, I don't know who the levies are, but they're sticking with the family and it's gone down, 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 expired, down. And it's, even though they have gone to another realty company, it looks like maybe it's a brother or something, you know?
Well, and what's interesting about this one is I did notice when I scrolled down here to look at the listing history arrow on the bottom portion that Catherine was telling us about, it does say in the broker remarks, broker related to seller.
Yeah.
So, you know, this could be a prime expired for someone to call today after class because not everyone decides that working with family is a good idea. And they may say, hey, you know, we've been marketing this property with a brother, or with a father, or with a mother, or whoever this person is, and it's not working out, and we now need an outside source to help us. So, or you make the phone call and they say, oh, well, it's my brother's the listing agent. Of course, we're going to renew with him. So let's show you guys how you actually find the information on these people. Who to call. How to call. So underneath the photo again is the TX button, and that takes you to Realist Tax. And so you can click straight on that. You don't have to go to the county assessors. Back when I was doing expireds 12 years ago, it was so many steps and so time consuming. It took me about 3 hours to end up coming up with a list of maybe 5 or 6 names to call because you had to cross-check everything. So the homeowner's name is right here at the top, Eli Levy. And then what you have to do is, I recommend, let's be proactive. Everybody can mail letters. So if you pop a letter in the mail, which we do have different letters in the Elevate 3.0 that are expired listing letters. Hey, I saw your listing came up expired. Are you looking for a new realtor? Here's my card. Give me a call. People get a lot of that stuff in the mail and it tends to hit the trash. What people don't do is pick up the phone or drive by the house and go door knocking. What a great way to direct and focus in your door knocking rather than door knocking on a subdivision of houses that may not be selling. Go door knocking on expired listings.
Now, would you bang on the door if they have a no solicitation sign?
If they have no solicitation sign, I don't.
Yeah. So do you prepare something to leave on the door?
I prepare a packet, and in that packet, it's the equity folders, which we sell here in the office. I put in there on Elevate 3.0, there's why I'm the right realtor for you. And it's a pre-templated letter about all the values that you can provide. I would also write a handwritten note on, hey, I noticed your home just came off the market. Curious if you're looking for a new agent who's going to be aggressive. Would love the opportunity to interview. Include your card. Maybe you've done a quick market analysis on the property and you want to include that. Here's the recent sales in the area, because maybe things have changed a little bit since when they listed it and since it's expired, or maybe their previous realtor wasn't good on keeping them updated on what's going on in the market. But keep the packet really simple and make it something that is not specifically templated to each property other than the handwritten note, but something that you can make multiple packets and just leave them in your car.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at, okay, so if we were going to look for Eli Levy's phone number, what would we do? Let's go to the white pages and see what we can find. You can search by person, by phone number, or by reverse address. I'm going to turn these notifications off
And
here.
here's my question on that, because I've done that.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, well, you can't get their cell phone unless you pay us. You can't do this unless you pay us.
Yeah, so if someone has a landline, you get access to that phone number. There are very few people that have landlines anymore, but you can look for that landline number. For $4.99 a month, you can upgrade to their I forget what it's called, pro service or premium service or platinum service, and that will give you access to the mobile number of record. So for $4.99 a month, if you're going to be doing expireds on a regular basis, it might not be a bad investment.
Yeah, because I would agree. I mean, when I was doing it, I didn't know, because you had 411, you had all of these, and they're all charging you, and
Yeah.
I didn't know which one was good, which would be a scam.
So White Pages is what I used to use years ago. It's not to say that it's the best product out there right now. I would probably guess that if I came up with a list of 12 expireds with phone numbers, when I called those numbers, maybe 8 of them actually dialed through. There would be 4 disconnected numbers, or 2 disconnected and 2 wrong numbers. But normally I would get 8 either people or answering machines, which was, I think, a pretty fantastic result. 8 out of 12. Not
And
too
do you
bad.
leave a message on the answering
I
machine?
do leave a message.
Yeah.
And the only reason I do that is, for a long time, I did trial and error just to figure out what worked for me. And I would call, and if I got an answering machine, I would hang up, and I'd call back later in the day. And I'd try morning, I'd try afternoon, I'd try evening. When are these people home? When are they going to answer their phone? Weekends. And a lot of times people look on caller ID, and if they don't recognize the number, they don't answer it. So I would leave a message, and I would say 50% of the time when I left a message, I got a return call back. So I thought, what's the harm in leaving a message? And a lot of people would call back and say, no, I'm not looking for another realtor. We've decided to stay in Colorado, and we're not going to move out of state like we intended. Or, yes, I'm looking for another realtor, and I'm starting my interviews this evening. What are you doing tomorrow? I was like, yes.
Would you send a packet and then call and say, I've sent you a packet, or do you do one or the other?
So I would do, it's completely up to what you want to do. But for me, I would just call and call and call and call, because postage got so expensive to try and mail things. And unless one of these houses was en route to one of my appointments or to the office, then I'd swing by and drop something off. But I would just call and call and call and call and call. And I didn't waste time with printing and mailing or anything like that. And if I didn't, it's a numbers game. So if I couldn't get a hold of someone within the first week, I just marked them off the list and I moved on. And so you just keep doing it every single day, adding in those new expireds and just shedding the ones that you haven't been able to get in touch with. But I don't think it's bad practice. If you start on a Monday making your calls, and on a Friday you have time to drop by some of the ones and physically visit some of the ones you haven't been able to get in touch with, I don't think it's a bad use of time at all. So let's take a look and see if we can find Eli Levy in here. Looks like he comes up. I see mobile numbers. I see a house landline. We're probably not going to be able to see the mobile number because we don't have the premium subscription here, but there is a landline number. So perfect opportunity to call and say, hi, my name is Stacey with Equity Colorado Real Estate, and I just noticed that your home at 10351 East Jewel Avenue came off the market yesterday, and I'm curious if you're looking for a new realtor. And they say, nope, I've renewed my listing agreement with my current realtor. Okay, great.
No, they don't. They say, yes.
Or they say, yes, where have you been? Or they might say, don't be alarmed. They might say, you're the 3rd person that's called me today. And my response is, well, great. I'd love the opportunity to sit down and talk to you. And you see where the conversation goes from there. But yeah, you will, if you're not on these every single day, someone else will beat you. But if only 2 other people have called them, there's 20,000 realtors in the Denver metro area, and only 3 have called you. Well, you're lucky. So yeah, so that's how you grab the phone number. And then of course you've got the address if you want to do a drive-by, but always double check of course, that MLS status and the history to make sure you're not wasting your time on someone who has signed another listing agreement with another agent. The other thing that you can do really quick, which is helpful, if you do get an appointment with someone and you want to kind of see, you know, what could have been some of these challenges that they were overcoming. Look at the current photos. You know, how's the condition on the inside look? Look at Google Maps. Where is it located? Is it back to a street? Is it back to a power plant? Is there something there that you need to know about? You can also, below the photo, is the link to RPR, which is Realtor Property Resource Center. All of you guys have access to this for free. And I'm already logged in.
Did it say RPR? It is looking
Just has little dots.
Yeah, let me go back.
Okay.
Sorry, I was moving a little quickly.
No, I was looking at my thing.
So
right.
yeah, it's this little, it's a yellow dot, a blue
okay.
dot, a green dot, and a red dot. And when you hover over it, it says Realtors Property Resource Charts and Graphs.
Hey, Stacey,
Oh yeah.
is there any way that we can see what you're doing on your computer?
Oh, do you not see my screen?
I don't see your screen. I see the class, but we don't see your screen.
Okay, because I've got my screen share on the TV right now, and I was under the impression that all along you guys have been able to see everything I'm doing.
Am I the only one who can't, guys?
I can see it, Stacey. Rita.
Okay. How about, let's see,
Is your video on?
Kim Dunbar, are you able to see my screen? Mike, are you able to see my screen?
Okay, Kim can see it. Why can't
Yeah.
I?
Let's think, Nicole. Why aren't you able to see this?
Is there a video?
Yep, Mike
icon
can
that
see it.
you're not-
Okay, so it's just me.
So yeah, unfortunately it is just you. I don't like that.
I don't either.
There are ways that you can toggle through what you're looking at.
Yeah, I can see you, I can see Rita's clock. And everybody else is blocked out like I am, but I can't.
Yeah, I don't know on that, Nicole. I am so sorry because you're not getting the full effect of this presentation at all. You can't see the
I
screen.
had to hit share screen. I can see it now.
Oh, yay! Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, so one thing I love about that RPR link is it's a direct click straight over to this RPR system, which you all have free access to being a realtor. It's part of your membership dues. And so when you type in an address for a property, it will pull a really quick CMA. And this one shows that it's a lot. So we're gonna use a different one. This home was recently built, so it's not showing all of the information for it. So let's do this Hunter's Hill, and I'll show you how you can do a real quick CMA on these. And it will give you kind of an estimate of, are they in the right ballpark price-wise, or is that part of maybe one of the reasons why it didn't sell? So this property was currently listed at $545 when it expired, and the estimated value is at $563. So pricing is probably not the problem with this house. So getting inside it is going to help you determine if it's condition, if it's location, if it's marketing, because it's priced right in where it needs to be. So the main goal of expireds is to get in the door. Whatever it takes to get yourself in the door and get an appointment with this person. And then of course you have to sit down and show them your value, and you need to put together a listing presentation and explain why you think you can get it sold where the other previous realtor wasn't able to.
Do you actually ask them their opinion on what they think why their home didn't sell? Because a lot of people, they sort of.
A lot of people will have a general gut feeling. And sometimes people will say, you know, I think it's because of this, but my realtor told me not to worry about that. Or I think it was because of that, and I was completely willing to change it, but my realtor said, don't worry about it. So yeah, that's a great question.
Or I have no idea because I disagree with my realtor that it's overpriced and filthy and cluttered and.
Yeah, And sometimes you do get in these expired listings and you realize that it's an uphill battle you're not willing to climb. If it's someone that is not going to listen to your recommendations and your advice and they're $50,000 overpriced and they don't have to move, they just wanted to move, then it's probably not worth the effort.
Or they're just trying out the market.
Or they're
Let's
just
stick
trying
it on.
Yeah.
Let's see if somebody
I just want
wants
to see what's going to happen, but I don't have to move. You know, if I can't sell it, I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah.
But if they're transferring, I move into Texas, my company's relocating me next month, I have to sell. That's what we want. There was an expired listing that I went after. It was in Highlands Ranch, and I was only about a year into doing expired. So I was still learning how to interact, how to engage, how not to insult, what kind of dialogues and scripts worked. And really nice younger kid. He was just out of college. It was his first home that he had bought, and he was going to be moving out of state. And the listing was on the market for 6 months, never did a price reduction, never had any communication from his realtor, didn't know why it didn't sell, and it expired. I got myself in the door. And he had this bright red wall painted when you walked in and bright red in the kitchen. And I walked in going, wow, that's pretty bold. It kind of turns you off. The carpet's a little bit dirty, but the house is a great floor plan, very prominent builder in Highlands Ranch, and it's priced perfectly. So I went in and I said, we need to clean the carpets. And you and I are going to Home Depot and we're getting paintbrushes and a can of Realtor beige paint. And we're painting your front wall when you walk in and we're painting your kitchen. It sold in 2 days, no price adjustment. That was it. So oftentimes it's very, very little subtle changes. And, you know, inventory in our market right now, this was back when average days on market was 90. So buyers had a lot of choice. And if they didn't like the paint on the wall, they didn't buy the house. Our market now has changed a little bit where people are willing to take on some of those small sacrifices. But in that instant, it wasn't a price reduction. It wasn't location. It was just a matter of red paint and dirty carpets. That was it. And he just needed guidance. And so, yeah, it's fun to go in there and kind of put on the detective hat and figure out what's wrong with this. Why isn't it selling? So other questions on searching expireds, getting phone numbers, kind of that over the phone dialogue. No? But definitely if the expireds are slim, when you're searching recent, you know, the last couple days, go back that 6 months, 9 months, a year ago and see if those people that have taken their home off the market have had a change in heart and want to relist, because they're not getting hammered by phone calls from other realtors, because hardly anyone ever calls expireds from a long time ago. And then expireds are also another really good tool in the event, and this isn't lead generation, this is more if you're working with a buyer and you can't find a home for them, go back through the expireds and withdrawns to see if there's a house that meets their criteria, and then reach out to that homeowner and say, hey, I've got a buyer looking in this neighborhood, are you interested in selling? And oftentimes you can cultivate your own inventory for those buyers that are really, really struggling to find a house.
Yeah.
So another good, useful tip when it comes to expireds. All right, so let's take a look then, if there aren't any questions. Oh, one thing I did want to reference, if you can't get a phone number and you're too intimidated to drop materials or go door knocking, there is an expired listing letter in Elevate, and I'll just show you really quick. If you do want to try mailing out something, I'll show you what you can mail so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. When you go into Elevate, click on the Marketing Center. And then under Marketing, there are, let's see, Real Estate Letters on the left-hand side. Click on Real Estate Letters. There's a divorce letter. There's a low inventory prospecting letter.
Okay, how did you get to that again? Sorry. You went
Elevate
to-
marketing letters.
So let's go back, just in case they went a little fast. So when you log into Elevate,
Oh yeah, marketing.
so you click on the Marketing tab,
Yeah.
and then it opens to the Marketing Center. And then click on this Marketing button.
Okay.
And then on the left-hand side are all the categories, subcategories, and we're gonna look at Real Estate Letters. And when you scroll down, there's the expired listing letter template. And this is a pre-designed letter that you can actually go in and edit if for some reason you don't like the way it's formatted or the language that's used. You can go in and retype everything that you want to say. But, you know, as an agent in insert neighborhood, I study the market closely and track the homes that are sold and the homes that unfortunately did not sell. I noticed that you put your house on the market and it didn't sell. I realize there are many reasons homes don't sell, and one of those may have been that you simply decided not to move. If that's the case, this letter may not be of interest to you. However, if you still want to move, here's some information that may be useful. And then it just talks about market statistics, neighborhood statistics. As a real estate professional, I completely understand the stress of putting your home on the market. So yeah, just a great introduction letter. So that's if you're going to be the less proactive, going the less proactive approach, that is a fantastic letter to use. But again, I say phone and knock on doors.
You were saying if they had a no solicitation sign, you don't knock, but you still
But I
leave the
still leave
material?
information. Yep, I leave the information right there on the front porch. Any other questions before we move on from expired listings? All right. I like this.
In that situation before, when you were looking up that property and we looked up Eli Levy, whatever his name is, his mailing address was different to the home address. So, I mean, do you like assume that perhaps he's not living there? Would you still leave the packet? Would you mail it to his other address?
You know, it's one of those things where if you drive by the house, and I didn't read the MLS, I didn't see if that was a new construction, never been lived in, like a custom spec home. It could be a custom spec home, and so nobody's living in the property. It would probably be a better idea to mail that information to his actual residence. Okay. Yeah, because if you leave it on site, it could sit there for weeks. You never know when he's going to go visit the property. Yeah, or you know, there are properties that are not owner occupied, they're rentals. And so you will find that information when you pull up realist tax. It will show that they don't live in the property and that maybe they're out of state. Those are my favorite expireds to call because they tend to not have a ton of resources in Colorado if they're living in Florida. And they may not even know that their listing expired and that they're no longer getting showings. And I have had that happen when I've called before and they're like, what do you mean my home's not on the market? I said, well, it's coming up that your listing agreement has expired with your previous realtor and no one is going to be showing your house anymore. And they're like, what? So yeah, but working with those investor clients that have tenants in properties or, you know, the properties are sitting vacant because they can't get a tenant, whatever the case may be. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's talk then about for sale by owners. For sale by owners, I won't spend quite as much time on this one as I did on the expired listings because for sale by owners take up such a small percentage of the marketplace. Yeah. And I think the National Association of Realtors statistic was that only 8% of all real estate transactions were done with a for sale by owners. And of those, only 3% were people that the for sale by owner did not know. Meaning 5% of them were a family exchange or an exchange with a friend. So, or even a tenant. They've got a tenant that's residing in the property that says, I want to buy this house. And they say, great, I'll sell it to you. And they do it themselves. So for sale by owners, because they are such a small market, you know, it still has a very good conversion rate because of the percentage of for sale by owners that put their house on the market to sell. They typically realize within the first week or two that they're over their head. And they obviously didn't know that when they first embarked on the house down the street, the realtor put the sign in the yard, a bunch of people came through that weekend and it sold. I can do that. And they think it's pretty easy. So what's really good about for sale by owners is you can search them in so many ways. You can take a notepad in your car and every time you drive by a for sale by owner sign, write down the phone number and call them. Or you can go on forsalebyowner.com, you can go on Zillow.com, and they freely advertise all the information about themselves and their property. So they're super easy to track down. So let's go to forsalebyowner.com, and I'll show you a quick little scenario. So we're gonna pretend we are buying a house so that we can search for homes, and we're gonna go to Colorado. And let's see,
That's
this.
a good picture, sideways.
This house in Sedalia, 1.1. I don't really want to work Sedalia. I don't want to work Alamosa either. But I like this Dry Creek Circle in Centennial for $359. Let's see what this person has going on. So they say happy to pay 3% to a buyer's agent. Well, that's awesome because now you're not overcoming the obstacle of commission. They're already willing to pay half the commission as it is. It looks like they must have it listed in the MLS already, maybe some flat fee company. So this probably isn't one that we're going to go after if they've already got an MLS number. So let's look for a different one. Let's check out, anybody want to work in Manitou Springs? I'm going to go to the map. So let's see where all these guys are residing at. Why aren't they showing up?
I think they're further south or west.
Huh. Let me refresh that because it shows that there's 81 results. But I'm not seeing anything on the map.
Do you have to do the criteria? Probably type up there.
Do you have to select them?
Well, it says all.
Yeah.
So it should show everything. Maybe our internet's a little slow. So let's just go back through. We're
land.
gonna do, how about
Oh, look, it goes to Springs.
Castle Rock? There we go. For sale by owner / builder, 3% co-op. So the cool thing is you can read all about the property. You can see all the pictures. This one's really pretty.
But he's also the builder.
Yeah, so what we'd want to know is it a small builder? Is it an independent builder? Because there are a lot of mom and pop builders out there that will buy pieces of land and they only do 1 or 2 of these houses a year. So they're not a Richmond, they're not a D.R. Horton, they're not a Shea Homes. They're just small, independent, and oftentimes they still need assistance of the realtor. But just for sake of discussion and showing
Is
you
that an
guys.
MLS number up there?
It's NMLS.
NMLS. I don't know what that is.
3030.
3030.
Oh, no, that's Quicken Loan Act.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Oh.
NMLS is typically for lenders.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna show you because down here when it says contact seller, you can either email them or they advertise their phone number. So you don't even have to look their phone numbers up. They just give them to you, which is awesome. So then you can call them and say, hey, noticed your property that you're selling for sale by owner at 1258 Ridge Oak Drive. Wanted to see if it's still available.
That's
Yes.
a lot of money for a 3-bedroom home.
Is it still priced at $874,500? Yes. I see in the ad that you're willing to pay a 3% co-op if a realtor brings a buyer. Yes, I am. Bring me a buyer. Great. When would be a good time for me to come preview the house? Because your goal is to get inside, 1, to view the home, and 2, to have an opportunity to develop some sort of a connection with that person so that in the event they decide they need help, they turn to you.
Would you offer to do an open house for them?
I don't know that I would offer to do that.
So you can maybe get the buyer?
I mean, you could potentially. But the ultimate goal is not to necessarily walk in the door of this meeting and say, you know, I don't think you're doing the right thing. I think you need a realtor. I don't know why you're crazy, you know, to even attempt this for sale by owner thing. Only 3% of for sale by owners actually end up selling. It's to show that you are there when they change their mind. And some of the good questions to either ask over the phone or in person to make sure that it's worth your while is, what are you going to do if you can't sell the home on your own? Oh, well, my daughter's a realtor, so I'm going to list it with her. Probably not one that you want to pursue. Well, if I'm going to give it 3 weeks, and if I can't get it sold, I'm going to hire someone. Great. Do you already have people in mind? No, I don't. Well, could I be one of those people? And then after the appointment and after you've had an opportunity to view the house, and again, part of being a real estate agent is going out and looking at properties, whether they're listed in the MLS, whether they're for sale by owners. It helps you develop knowledge of the market, pricing, floor plans, upgrades, amenities, expectations of what buyers want in homes. And I think utilizing for sale by owners, not only for a lead generation tool, but an educational tool so that you can master the markets that you want to know. You need to see everything. And then when you follow up on the meeting, say the person says, hey, you know, I'm going to give this a month. And then at that point, I'm going to turn it over to a real estate agent. Great. Follow up with a handwritten note card. Thank you so much. I love the opportunity of meeting with you. Here's my business card. Follow up with a letter. You know, in the event that you need resources to help you with the home sale process, here is a plumber I recommend. Here's a roofer I recommend. Here's my preferred title company. Feel free to use these resources. You see a home that sells in this particular neighborhood, print out the MLS sheet, scribble some handwritten notes on there. This one just closed. It sold at this price point. Wanted you to be aware. Pop it in the mail. The trick to for sale by owners is persistence, because the realtor that follows up with them gently and not being salesy, I'm the #1 real estate agent in the area, I've sold so many homes. It's not about me, 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 me. It's about them. And at the point when they need to turn to someone who's more knowledgeable than they are and they need assistance, you want them to come to you. So providing them with these little pieces of value, little items of value, demonstrating your knowledge of the market, but not pushing them is really good. And back when I was doing for sale by owners, my conversion rate on for sale by owners wasn't nearly as good as expired listings, because you're trying to sell them on the fact that they need your help. And it can be kind of hard to do that. But what the statistics do show is for sale by owners sell 23% less. The sales price of a for sale by owner is 23% less than an agent assisted sale. So oftentimes you can show your value right there. They're going to pay a 6% commission, 3 of which they're already willing to pay because they're willing to do the 3% co-op. You're only trying to get another 3% out of them. And if you can make them an extra 20% on the sales price, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they hire someone to do all the work and make an extra 20%? And that statistic is from the National Association of Realtors. You can print out a for sale by owner flyer that states just that. For sale by owners sell for a sales price 23% less than agent assisted sales. And most of the time that's because the for sale by owner discounts their listing price anyways, because they know to attract buyers, they have to come in under market. And they're not great negotiators either. So
the other issue is paperwork. They have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was visiting for sale by owners, my goal was just to get into the door, and then I would walk room by room by room and ask them, why are you moving? What's your favorite feature about the home? What's your favorite feature about the neighborhood? What are you going to do if you can't get it sold? And I would bring a folder, and what I would do is I would print out as much information as I possibly could and leave it in that folder, just in efforts to overwhelm them. That was my goal, was to overwhelm them and bring to their attention that there's a lot of stuff that goes into a successful sale. So I'd print out the copy of the contract to buy and sell. I'd print out all the disclosures. I'd print out a copy of the title company rate sheets. I put all kinds of copies of counter proposals, copies of lead-based paint disclosures, copies of inspection notices, and they get this packet this big, and here's all the things you're going to need to help navigate the sales process. And they look at this information, and I mean, their eyes would get huge, and they're like, thanks. And then a couple days later, I'd get a phone call going, hey, I looked through that packet. There's so much I don't know. Can I get your help? Of course. Of course. I'd love to help you.
We did that in our listing presentation.
Does that have your information on it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So like it's like
branded. Yeah.
The contract and all of that, it has yours.
Yeah, what I do is I go into CTM, and I would just print out a blank contract, and it has your name and Equity Colorado at the top. Yep. And then on Elevate 3.0, there's all kinds of home seller, charts, like a wheel that talks about the home selling process. You can include that. There's different for sale by owner materials that you can print out and put in there. So there's all kinds of materials. But the main thing is to search these for sale by owners out. The other thing I want to show you guys, because I think this is really cool, is if you go on Zillow, and I know how we don't really like Zillow, but we can use it as a resource. you can type in, we're gonna look for houses in Denver, Colorado on Zillow. We're gonna pretend we're a buyer.
I think Zillow actually is a great resource, just because that's where your buyer's gonna go first. So you might as well walk in their shoes.
Yeah. So when you go into Zillow, and I just put in Denver, Colorado homes, so it pulls up the city limits of Denver. And then in listing type, you can mark for sale by owner. And I'm gonna uncheck everything else. And then at the bottom, you can mark open houses only. And you can see when these for sale by owners are holding open houses, and you can go by their open house. So you don't even have to call and make an appointment. You can just show up. So for example, there's this one off 41668th Street.
And you get there
And
and it's a
it's-
long line of realtors.
Yes, exactly. And they're open from 1 to 4. So you can stop by this cute little property. There's one Ogden Street, apartment 401. It's going to be open Friday from 5 to 8:30. So another great way to get in front of these people. And then if you don't want to limit it to open houses, you can uncheck the open house box and it will tell you every single for sale by owner that's on the market. The tricky thing about this is it doesn't give you the contact information for the for sale by owner. So you have to email to get more information, and it goes directly to the for sale by owner's email. But whether they respond to you, you know.
Sometimes I've seen numbers on there though, that they've put in the bottom of the
Put in.
description further down.
Yeah, put in, you know, contact me at. But yeah, I just thought that open house thing was super slick. That didn't exist when I was doing for sale by owners, but to be able to go visit them in person, I think is kind of cool. So another little tool.
So let's go, look at that one at the bottom. They're open from Saturday from 5 to 8 in the morning.
Oh, that seems weird.
Yeah. I bet they don't get anybody.
Yeah, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. I wonder if that's
Must be 5 p.m. to 5.
Yeah, they made a
That's what I'm
mistake. But
thinking. Yeah, that is kind of weird.
The tenant in the property is month to month right now. Would like to stay if all possible.
Yeah, so they're pretty much
They're not
looking for an
saying how much they're
investor.
getting for rent or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, good catch. I didn't see that 5 to 8 a.m.
Maybe
Yeah.
that tenant's going to be happy when people are banging on the door.
Yeah, exactly. Sheesh. Yeah, here's another one that says currently rented out. For sale by owner, or inquiry. So yeah, they've actually got a for sale by owner link. Let's check that out real quick.
Cherry Creek, nice.
So yeah, this one probably has, yeah, it's got email
Julia Creek
address.
Tower. For sale by owner, direct buyers, please contact Julie at Cherry Creek Tower.
Yep.
She's probably the manager of the building.
Might be, she could be the owner. Well, yeah, just because of the way that Cherry Creek Tower, 703 though. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, tons of information at your fingertips. It's just a matter of how you want to utilize it. Question on for sale by owners. Have you, Robin, Catherine, have you guys done for sale by owners? What's your experience been?
well, the only one we've done, it was, I think I told you, the two neighbors that were gonna buy from each other. And so I said, well, at least let me help you do your paperwork, because there's potential challenges. And we found on one side of the property over 300,000 in liens.
Oh,
On the other side, we found just all kinds of lender problems, and it was
Really?
just a nightmare. And she knows what we've been battling with it
wow.
on. But I got a gift the other day she brought to me, because she was like,
Aw.
I've never seen anybody, who got us through this. We're not closed yet.
Right.
We had to move closing because we switched it to cash.
Mhm.
But it's amazing. And then the other party with all the liens was thrilled because they didn't know it.
Yeah.
And they're like, what would have happened?
Yeah, what would we have done without you?
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, well, good.
I tried them before we teamed up, a few of them, of sell by owners. I think they're quite hard. Because when you
hard.
call, a lot of them are like, you're the 5th realtor that's called me.
Well, the other one that was interesting was, I can't remember their names now, Dusty. We had another one that was for sale by owner, and he kept trying and nothing was working, and he had a whole bunch of people lined up to interview, and we went over there and we really chatted with them, we educated them and stuff, and I think we were the only ones that, you know, we did not show up with contract paperwork, you know, for him to sign right away.
Yeah, but remember that other agent? He told us there was another agent he had interviewed, and we said to him, well, do you know that she's already put you in the CTME? And already signed you up at the CTME.
Oh, wow.
He said, well, I haven't signed anything. I don't know why she's doing that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we were getting ready to list, and they had one couple who was interested in the house, changed their minds, and they called them back up again and said, you know what, we want it. And
Wow.
so
So
they
he did
ended
sell it
up,
himself in the
he
end.
did, yeah.
But he was pretty shocked that that agent had assumed that they were getting the listing. Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely, I mean, for sale by owners aren't for the faint of heart. They are one of the hardest things to go after, and there's a ton of rejection, and you have to have super thick skin. But you know, what a great way to practice just dialogues and reading people's body language and how to adapt to situations, because you have to think on your feet the entire conversation. But when you can convert one, I mean, if your goal, and that's where, you know, having a business plan is really important. If your goal is to sell, say, 12 houses in a year, and you can get 2 from for sale by owners and 3 people from open houses and 2 people from expired listings, it's just, you just need a few from each category to bring everything together. So it's not that you have to go out and kill it when it comes to for sale by owners, but you know, if you can do 2, 3, 4 of them a year, and that's very realistic, very realistic. So we kind of already talked about, you know, focus on the seller. What do they like most about the home? What upgrades do they have? What do they like about the neighborhood? And then adding value. Would it be okay if I kept in touch with you, mail them a handwritten note, send them a list of contractors, things to help them kind of navigate. And then we talked about that statistic, average sales price of a FSBO is 23% less than an agent assisted sale. So, but persistence really is the key. Anytime I landed a for sale by owner, it was typically, it wasn't right place at right time. It was either I followed up for months and months and months. And then when I'd ask them, why did you select me? And they said, you were the only one that kept calling. You were the only one that kept calling. Okay, great, I'll take it. Or because I caught them as soon as they became a for sale by owner, and I was one of the first agents in the door. So they weren't beat down by you being the 10th person that's called them. So you either have to catch them real quick or just be very persistent. And then in here, which I will end up sharing this whole PowerPoint presentation with everybody, just different scripts that you guys can utilize. You know, I'm calling, this particular one is if you're selling a house in the neighborhood and you notice a for sale by owner, you can call them and let them know, hey, you know, I just sold another home in the area. I see you're trying to sell your house. Is it available? Is it under contract? The one I had recently sold for X amount. How big is your house? And, you know, where are you planning on moving? How long are you going to try and sell it on your own? So this is a perfect script if you already have a listing in the area. And then trying to close for an appointment. And then the qualifying questions that you want to make sure you get in there if they're willing to pay a 3% commission if you bring a buyer, when they're going to start exploring their own option or other options. So, all right, that's for sale by owners. Anybody online have any questions? You guys are so quiet. No question? Okay, we'll move on. So let's talk about open houses. Who does open houses regularly? Who does open houses, period?
Regularly, but we
Regular?
can do them, yeah.
Okay. What's your success been with buyers coming through that don't have realtor that need assistance?
Depending on the price point, obviously you get more people. I think that probably more potential for buyers and more sort of 400-500 range or below. And once you get into the 7, 8, 9 and above, they all tend to have a
A realtor.
realtor, or a lot of people just come and look because it's an expensive home. They want to see what an expensive home looks like.
Yeah.
How much bang for your buck you get.
Exactly. Open houses I absolutely love. And whether you're a brand new agent in the industry, a seasoned agent in the industry, you've been doing this for 30 years, I think open houses can be one of the most fruitful ways to pick up buyers and pick up listings. And that's the thing I love about them, is you don't just pick up buyers, but you can pick up potential sellers. So let's talk about, how do you get an open house? You're new to the business, you don't have any listings. If you have a listing, host open houses on your own listing. If you're new and you don't have a listing, that's the power of being here at Equity. We can share inventory. So come to a sales meeting, come to a class, rub shoulders with people on Facebook that are posting, I'm going to be listing this house in Parker, I'm going to be listing this house in Castle Rock, and ask if their seller would be willing to have an open house and if you can host it. You can also go on to RE Colorado and you can search all the listings that Equity has as an agency by typing in Equity Colorado as the listing office. And it will give you a list of 80, 90 listings, and then you can go through and call the individual realtors based upon the area that you want to host your open house. If you specialize in Highlands Ranch and you only want an open house in Highlands Ranch, you pull up all the Highlands Ranch listings and you call and say, hey, I'm a fellow Equity agent. I see you've got a listing in Highlands Ranch. I'd love to hold that open this weekend. Can we make arrangements? And people are happy here. I mean, it's such a collaborative environment anyways. Happy to let you host, generally. Unless the seller has an objection to an open house. That's typically the only time. My seller doesn't want an open house, sorry. So that's how you find them. How you prepare for them is more than just getting your open house signs and showing up the day of the open house. You can be extremely proactive in order to make them the most beneficial. In Elevate, we do have a 14-page open house manual under our training tab and under our how-to section. And I'll show you guys where that's at in case you aren't familiar. So let's log here into Elevate again. And we're going under the little training tab with the little graduation hat. And then the how-to question section. And then down here under business building how-tos is how to host a successful open house. And it's a whole manual on how to do your open house, which is pretty cool. It talks about 2 to 3 days out what you need to do. And of course, this font's pretty small, so you guys will have to look at it on your own. But 2 to 3 days out, the day before, how to have a safe open house, tips, what to do the day of the open house. I mean, it's really, really comprehensive. It gives you the bare bones on what to do. And then at the bottom of each page, it says to take it up a level. And these are extra things that you can do with the open house. And then it talks about follow up after the open house has ended, but it's an entire manual. So we'll talk about just some of the basics of preparation for open houses. Typically, you want to try and get an open house scheduled on a Monday or Tuesday before you're going to hold it on a Saturday or Sunday. Because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to post it on Facebook that you're going to hold an open house. You're going to want to go canvass the neighborhood 2 to 3 days before and invite the neighbors to the open house. One, they typically want to come, if the home hasn't been on the market long, they want to come check it out. They want to see, what's my house worth based upon what the neighbor's house is going for. And they're, that's fine. It's okay to have the nosy neighbors, because oftentimes those nosy neighbors are curious about the value of their home because they're going to be selling in the near future or down the road. So going through and inviting all the neighbors, it gives you purpose for door knocking. And you just never know if someone's going to say, you know what, we're actually thinking about selling our house. We'd love to come to the open house. And then you can engage in the dialogue of, do you have a realtor who's assisting you? No, we don't. Well, I'd love for you to come by the open house. And then after I'm done with the open house, would it be okay if I came over and saw your house? I'd be happy to put together a complimentary market analysis. Yeah, that'd be great. So you can either do the 5 by 5 by 10, which means you go and you take door hangers or postcards or flyers to the 5 houses to the right of the open house, 5 houses to the left of the open house, and then 10 houses across the street. So that gives you 20 people to talk to. And if you knock on the door and nobody answers, then you can either leave the flyer, leave the door hanger, leave the postcard on their door. Might not be a bad idea to do a quick little video of the neighborhood. And if you can, preview the house before you do the open house so you can kind of get familiar with it, and preview the other active listings in the immediate area. That way, if you have a buyer that comes through the open house that says, oh, this is only a 3-bedroom, we need a 4-bedroom, we've got 3 kids. You can say, you know what, I just looked at a house 2 blocks over. It's got mountain views, it's got a finished basement. You can tell them, you can describe the house, and I'd be happy to show that one to you.
She's amazing at that. She has
Are you good?
everything that did sell, that's currently listed, and she has all that prepared.
Mhm.
I'm just nosy.
Yeah.
No, you're thorough. You're thorough. Because what you want to do is when these buyers come through, you're there to educate. And whether they have a realtor or not, a lot of times people walk in and they say, I have a realtor. And that's because they've been told that if you say I have a realtor, those realtors will leave you alone, regardless of whether you do or not. It's like the code. Okay, we can't talk to you. But oftentimes they're looking for someone that can provide value. And sometimes buyers or sellers go to open houses to interview realtors to find one that they want to work with. And so always want to make sure that when that neighbor comes through and you're like, oh, it's just another nosy neighbor. No, engage that person, because they might be looking for an agent. And if you sit behind your computer and go, yeah, welcome to the open house, you're a neighbor, take a look around, let me know if you have any questions.
Lay on the couch and watch TV.
Lay on the couch and watch football. I've seen that so many times.
Oh, we have too.
Yeah.
But yeah, walk around, ask questions. And especially with the buyers who come in, you know, do you have a realtor you're working with or a realtor that's helping you? Whether the answer is yes or no, well, great. I'd love to educate you on the neighborhood. And tell them what's sold, what's listed, what are you guys looking for? How did you see the open house? Was it on the internet? Was it from the signs? So you learn how much information do they know about the neighborhood. Also knowing or having printouts of the schools of how close the parks are, how close the trails are, so that you can also educate people on the surrounding area. Because we are finding, now that traffic's getting a lot worse in the Denver metro, people are wanting to live closer to work and closer to immediate amenities. The school, the parks, the shopping. So being able to educate the people on that kind of stuff is nice too.
We also print out the thumbnail of what's sold in the last 6 months in the neighborhood and do stats on that. And we also print out a sheet with other open houses that are on that day.
Yeah.
So, you know, these are the other open houses, you know, so you can see if you want to go look at them and compare it to our property, and if it's, you know.
Exactly.
We have a resource center with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you probably have too much stuff actually, but.
Yeah. The key to open houses, it's really about being friendly and providing education and value.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you may have someone that comes in an open house that's in the beginning stages of looking and they're a buyer and no, I don't have a realtor, but we're just kind of checking things out and we're renting and we're not going to buy for a year. And if you do a good job of engaging with them, oftentimes those people call you up 3 months later and say, hey, I met you at this open house. And yes, you can have sign-in sheets or you can do, you know, a drawing. Hey, if you put in your name, phone number, and email, I'm going to draw at the end of the open house and give a $25 gift certificate to Amazon. There's all kinds of clever ways to try and get people's information. But I think what the ultimate goal is not having people fill out a sheet with an email address that is Minnie Mouse at Gmail or a phone number that's disconnected. If you can get real information, that's great. But it's engaging in conversation and connecting with an individual or a couple. And before they leave saying, hey, I'd love to help you navigate this home buying process. Can I get your name, number, and an email address? And let's plan a time to sit down over coffee. And I want to tell you about the home buying process and see if you can go ahead and get that commitment. And some people will say, no, we're just looking, but we'll take your card and we'll call you when we're ready. But at least making that attempt versus just the seller wants you to sign in please leave your name, number, and email, and then following up on leads. Some of those will pan out, but 99% of the time, they don't go anywhere.
Well, what we do, I mean, we engage them first. We do try to get their name, address, whatever we can, and they get thank you notes
Yes,
for coming.
that's perfect. Yeah, a thank you note. Who does that?
And the other thing we do as well, we approach it in a different way that, well, you might be looking now, but we do a monthly mailer, which tells you information about the market and
Mhm.
gives you tips on the home buying process. Would you like to be added to our mailing list?
Yeah,
That sort of thing.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a little more
Some
proactive.
people, they do it and some people don't.
Exactly. Yeah, and you just got to catch those people wherever they're at. And some people walk in an open house and they are ready to buy. And if you never ask them, hey, can I be the person to help you? Or do you have a realtor? They can walk right out the door and they're just waiting for someone to say, can I help you?
Well, one of our first open houses we did was for another agent. And we had one person that came in and they were kind of looking and didn't know. And so we started kind of helping them out. And her partner was self-employed, which meant he made nothing and
Oh,
stuff. And they've been working with one of our lenders. And this has easily been,
Gosh, it was
8
that one we
months,
did.
8 or 9 months.
It's probably 9 months
And,
ago, yeah.
I got the call yesterday that, and we do look sporadically, but the loan is, they're pre-approved now. And so we know what the limits are and everything. I know when they're planning to move. And I mean, she even one day called me and said, can I have your address, and sent a note because they would have been lost.
mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah,
we definitely were gonna find them a house, and I know they'll refer.
yeah.
Because
And you're
nobody's
just
stuck with
adding to
them.
that database, adding to your sphere and being consistent and persistent about it. I mean, when people come to me and say, what is the number one thing I can do today to generate leads? Or what is the number one thing I can do to generate leads 6 months from now? I say, go do an open house every single weekend. You can have a buyer that walks in today that wants to buy. You can have a neighbor that walks in and says, I'm looking to sell my house. Can you come over after you're done with the open house? Or you can at least get all these fishing lines out there so when people are ready, they come to you. And you need that pipeline. You need that pipeline. You don't just need business today and tomorrow, but you need business 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. And open houses are a fantastic way to do it because you have people coming to you who have some sort of an interest in real estate. They're walking right through your door. So, all right, anybody online have any questions on open houses?
Yes.
Great tool. Start doing them consistently. So we're going to move on to NED and pre-foreclosures. And one thing I want to say before we dive into NEDs and pre-foreclosures, I'm giving you guys a lot. You're drinking from a fire hose today. I'm giving you a lot of different lead generation tips. Pick 1 or 2, but not more than that, and do them religiously. Try not to be, as Brian Buffini says, the bumblebee realtor, where you do an open house and then you call 2 expired listings and then you visit a for sale by owner, then you try pre-foreclosures for a week. Stick to 2 things that you think you're going to do and that you would like to do, because it does take time for all of this stuff to work. It won't work overnight. So NEDs and pre-foreclosures. One of the things I love about pre-foreclosures is it gives you an opportunity to help people who are in trouble. It's not necessarily all about you getting a listing and getting a paycheck. That is a byproduct of helping someone get out of a tough situation. So you can have title companies set you up on their reoccurring email list where every single week they will email you a list of all the pre-foreclosures that have come through the county. It gives you the name of the homeowner, the property address, how much the mortgage is for, the outstanding balance, and when the foreclosure sale is going to occur. Or you can search for them yourself by going to the county website foreclosure page. And this is for Arapahoe County, Jefferson County, Douglas County, any county in Colorado. I've linked in Douglas County to this presentation. So I'll just quickly show you how you can search. If you type in Google, Douglas County foreclosure search, it will pull this website up. Jefferson County foreclosure search, it will pull up their website. Arapahoe County foreclosure search, it will pull up that website. So on here, the only thing I'm gonna have you guys type in is the election and demand date. That's the date that they got the letter from the mortgage company saying you are 90 days delinquent on your mortgage. And if you don't settle up, your property will go into foreclosure. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take anything, we'll say anybody in Douglas County who got an election and demand notice in the last, let's just do all of February. So by putting in February 1st, 2019, we don't have to put in an end date, it'll just do through today. And we're not gonna put anything else in unless you want to limit it to a city. Say you only wanna focus in Littleton or only, Highlands Ranch would be Douglas County, or you just wanna focus in on Castle Rock or just Parker, you can put in the city. But if you wanna see everybody in Douglas County, you just put in that first date and hit search. So it's gonna pull up every single person that is 3 months delinquent on their mortgage. And you can go through here and determine, one by one, we can look at
So
these.
that date is the date that they sent out the notice?
Correct. That is the
So
date they
if
sent
you
out the notice, meaning the sale date is going to be, for example, it shows in
3
this
months
column,
from now.
3 months from now.
So
Or
if you
4 months
put
from
in
now.
like the next day's date, it might be a completely different list.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I recommend that you put in fairly current information, like you wouldn't go back to November or December because those foreclosure sales are going to be occurring this month and next month, which doesn't give you enough time to even get the house on the market, under contract and closed. So by taking a date that is in February, we've got until June 26th on a couple of these, June 12th, June 5th, to find a buyer for this house.
So let's talk about Michael for a minute. So Michael had a $464,000 mortgage
Yep. and let's
originally.
Open him up.
Oh, okay. And
So he's in Highlands Ranch. He originally had $464,000 mortgage. His outstanding balance is $446,000. He has a 3.75 interest rate. There's already an attorney on the case, and the pre-foreclosure sale is going to occur on June 26th.
Now, when you're saying about the sale, is that when it goes to the auction?
Correct.
Now, Douglas County on Wilcott Street.
Yep.
on
Yep.
some of these, how does the balance get bigger than the original note? Do they do
They don't
second
pay
and
it.
third mortgage?
Because they don't pay it and they
They pay the
accumulate
interest goes on
interest and attorney fees on top of it.
And fees, yeah. Late fee and attorney fee.
So we can, let's see if this is one worthy of calling. So, or reaching out to. So we're gonna take and we're gonna cut this address and we're gonna put it in RPR and we're gonna see what the value of this home is. If the value of the home exceeds what is owed, it is someone that needs our help. So it is showing the approximate value of the property to be $552,000. What's the balance owed? 446. So there's a significant amount of equity in there. One, to cover real estate commissions, and two, to potentially put some money in this guy's pocket. And oftentimes what happens in these cases is sometimes people aren't educated on what's going on in the real estate market. They don't realize that the home is worth more than what they bought it for. Maybe they have all kinds of outstanding medical bills. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe they need someone. It's not that they're a bad person, they're not making their mortgage
What
payment.
does beneficiary mean?
That
the
is
bank.
a mortgage company. Ditech
Okay, people
Financial
borrow the money from-
is who their mortgage
Okay.
company is with.
But you put that into the RPR, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
How accurate is that value though?
It's kind of like a Zillow estimate. So it can be plus or minus,
Yeah.
a few $1,000s. It's pretty accurate, at least enough to give you a snapshot of whether it's worth your time. If this came in at 300,000, we'd know, oh, he owes way too much. There's no way we can help him. But because there is some wiggle room, and you can kind of see from the little map over here that things are selling 579, 577, 555. So there's potentially room, if this individual homeowner is interested, to get the home on the market and get it sold to a buyer and get them out from having a foreclosure put on their credit. So the thing with foreclosures that can be difficult is getting in
Pick up the
touch.
phone or
Getting in
answer
touch
the
with
door
these people.
without a shotgun.
And that's why you have to be very selective on where you go and where you're doing these, because one, you're researching information that is personal to this individual.
Mm.
And if you call and say, hey, I see you're not making your mortgage payments, I'd like to sell your house, you're probably going to get hung up on, or you're probably going to get an earful.
Well,
But-
they're also probably embarrassed, these people.
They're
You know,
embarrassed,
it's embarrassing,
yeah.
You know, their neighbors probably don't know that they're not paying their mortgage and,
Yeah, and
you know.
they can be very, very good people that just don't know how to get out of the situation they're in, and they need guidance, they need help. And so reaching out to them saying, hey, my name is Catherine Pickering from Equity, Colorado, and inventory is really low right now. And I wanted to see if you're interested in selling your house because I'm showing that the estimated value is around $550,000. That might be enough for someone to go, oh my gosh, I have medical bills, I lost my job, I've got foreclosure notices coming in the mail. What do you mean my house is worth $550,000? I had no idea. So you're coming in from an angle that isn't too intrusive. And maybe he says, no, I'm not interested in selling. And maybe you press a little harder. So I've noticed that you've been delinquent on a few of your mortgage payments, and I would like to help you get out of the situation. But start with the soft approach, because a lot of times people just don't know that they have the ability to get out from under the circumstance they're in. But I think this is the perfect one.
And you look up the number on the white pages.
Look up the number on the
white
white pages. Yep. Otherwise, you do what you do with the expired listings. You drive by. If someone's out in the yard or has the garage door open, you speak with them, or you drop a packet off at the door.
Fling it out the car windows, you drive by.
Exactly. If it has no soliciting or beware of dog, don't even stop the car. But
Well, a
you
lot of times also the mail with these sort of people, they don't open it because all they're getting is.
all they're getting is bills.
they just throw it
And
out.
if they're late on their mortgage, they're probably late on their water bill and late on their phone bill and
Yeah.
late on their TV bill. And yeah, so to put it on the front porch or the front door, and inside, what I recommend with these is a note that says, I'd love to sell your house. I'm showing that you have $100,000 worth of equity. Don't even talk about being late on their payments. Include this RPR CMA because it doesn't take you long to print it out, and put it in a packet, handwritten note, and see if you get a call back.
Okay.
But don't quite invade their privacy just yet. And there are a lot of people that have a different approach to that. They say, go straight for the throat. Tell them you know. I know you're late on your payments. I'm going to get you out of this situation. Let me help you. It depends on how aggressive you are. Me, I like to be a little softer.
What's been your success with that?
I've had a lot of success with that. Yeah, a lot of success. And the success I've had was in person. It was not over the phone because typically the phones are disconnected. I can't get through on the phone. But when I have been able to drive by and I see someone working in the yard, working in the garage, out in front of the house, I've never walked up to a house and knocked on the door and had someone answer. It was either they were already outside doing something, or I just didn't feel comfortable being by myself in that scenario. But I've approached people and said, hey, and very, very receptive to it. And some were embarrassed, some played the card, I don't know what you're talking about. I make my mortgage payments.
So tell me about this, the approach. So
And the market's a little bit different now. So the approach could be inventory's low. We're looking for, properties for buyers. Are you interested in selling your home? Back when I was doing it, average days on market was 90. So I couldn't say there's a plethora of buyers that are looking for inventory. There was too much inventory and not enough buyers. But my approach was, I am curious if you're interested in selling your home. I noticed that you have a substantial amount of equity since you bought it, and engaged in the dialogue that way. And a lot of time it would come out, oh, we're really strapped right now. We can't afford a realtor.
Well, the other thing is as well, another detail that probably should be mentioned here is the fact that even though you go onto those details, it tells you how much his original note was. This doesn't cover if they've got second.
If they've got a
third
second,
mortgages.
or
Or
if
anything
they've
else.
taken anything else out, or if they've got an IRS tax lien, it doesn't account for
You don't
that.
see any of that stuff, so
It only
they could be
shows
in
a
a lot more hot
small
than you
picture.
realize.
And
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what that attorney told us. They can still play games with this, like refile, redo something.
Mhm.
I mean, this is not, like, he's not locked at June 26th, because there's
No, it can
still
be
stuff he
extended.
can.
Yeah, they can do
Yeah, house next
extensions,
door,
or
three,
if they can come
2
current
years.
by paying the 3 months worth of mortgage that they're behind, then the pre-foreclosure gets dropped. And then they can stop paying again, and it gets reopened, and yeah, the timeline just keeps going. But in a couple of the cases where I've been the listing agent on the other end, we have, and this was back in the short sale market, we were doing the short sales before they were foreclosed on. And I did more short sales than I wanted to do, but that was the market. And you could get the lender, as long as you could provide them with a copy of the MLS showing you were marketing the property and trying to sell it. The bank didn't want to take these back. That's the last thing they want to do. So they would offer extensions, months and months worth of extensions. And if you got a contract on it and it was coming close to that auction sale, you could prove, I've got a buyer, this is our closing date, can we get an extension? And I never had a bank say no. So there is wiggle room. There definitely is wiggle room on this.
And if there are liens on property and everything,
They won't tell you about it.
no, but
They'll lie.
Yeah,
And
and
people
question
that
is,
aren't in
you-
LEDs, they
you
just,
have to pull an O&E on it, an owner and encumbrance report,
Yes.
and the title company can do that, and it will show you every single lien that that property has. A first, a second, a tax lien.
so some
But not
of them,
mechanics.
when you find those out, where let's say Michael has another, 200,000 of liens, so now he is underwater,
Right.
then it's really not worth selling? Because, I mean, would a buyer want to take that on, or is they?
Well, he'd have to
Got
bring money to
somebody.
the closing table.
Yeah, Michael would have to bring money to the
bank-
closing
The
table.
bank won't let it.
And my guess is he wouldn't have it.
Exactly.
But then they put a judgment on him, don't they, afterwards? The sale can be moved on as a spare warranty, but then the bank has a judgment on that person that they have to make payments
Mhm.
to.
And you
recoup
can't
their loss.
avoid an IRS lien. That will
Yeah.
follow you for
Right.
life.
But my point is, if I'm a buyer on this, I mean, the title company or the lender will either agree or disagree to let it go through.
well,
but-
it's the lender that has to say, it's up to them. if
So
they
yeah, the
let it
lender
go.
would decide, are we willing to do a short sale and forgive the seller the difference between what's owed and the difference between what is market value and the buyer's willing to pay. If there's a $50,000 discrepancy, the bank can say, we don't really want to foreclose on this because it's going to cost us more money. We're going to forgive the seller this $50,000 debt. We're going to give the buyer free and clear title, because
Right.
a buyer can't buy a property if there's $100,000 worth of outstanding debt that the seller can't pay off.
And that's my question. So then if you find that, then you have to go to the lender and say, what are you willing to do?
Exactly.
The bank, yeah.
Yep,
They're
it's-
in control of the whole thing, once it goes to the
Yep.
bank.
But the title company will not close the transaction because they can't give clean and clear title to the new buyer.
Right.
It would have liens on it. So, good question.
And a buyer would be stupid to buy it if it did have a massive lien on it.
Yeah.
then-
Exactly. But as you can see, here's a huge list of different people that haven't made their mortgage payments.
Oh, look,
And
there's Murdo's Circle, I know that.
yeah, you can go in here, another one in Castle Rock, this one, original note amount, 417,000. Let's take a look at this one real quick and then we'll kind of move on. Oops. But yeah, you can just pop the addresses in here and $549,000. Oh, this one's listed. They put it on the market.
Oh.
So that's the other thing you want to check to make sure that they haven't already listed the property. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of wiggle room in that one. So that seller got help or is in the process of getting help. All right, so any questions on NEDs, how to find them, how to approach them? Some of it is trial and error. What do I say? What do I do?
Well, I think just doing the research is probably what takes the time. Once you have the information, then it's just making the call, isn't it?
And people really are truly grateful when you can help them through that process, when they just weren't equipped to do it on their own. So one of our jobs being real estate agents is getting people to the closing table and having them sit there in tears and just say they couldn't have done it without you. And that just makes you feel so good that you have made a substantial impact in someone's life, regardless of the paycheck. The paycheck is nice, but making that sort of an impact is really cool. So,
I was gonna say, similar to the other question that I had, so you're dropping off the info if somebody's outside, are you still dropping it off if you don't see them?
yes.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, good question. Any questions, Zoomers, on NADs before we move forward?
No.
Perfect, thanks. All right, so let's talk a little bit about print marketing. I know Catherine, Robin, you guys are really good with your newsletters and your note cards and your different print marketing. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do and what you found success with.
Well, the best thing that two best things we did is Buffini.
Okay.
So we work a lot with Buffini, and we also now have an industrial commercial printer,
Oh,
so that we can now produce anything we want, and not have to mess with outside printers.
okay.
But
Wow.
we do all the Buffini stuff. We have, in every Buffini mailing, we have our own stuff that we do. We do all kinds of note cards. We do our items of value. We just are constantly looking to see what else can we do to provide to become the source of expert trusted advice and promote what we do.
Yeah.
And like I said, we were finding that our hands were a little tied before, and now.
You've got to,
Yeah, that print is brilliant because it prints the address and the return address on the envelopes, and
that
It's
takes
like-
a lot of the,
so much easier. All we do is stuff the envelopes and stick the stamp on it.
Any size we can make books.
wow, fancy.
Folds and staples and everything. You need any print work done?
Yeah.
We're coming to you.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're actually in a position that we can take on print jobs
Yeah,
now, and
very cool.
But just for your own marketing, for like, how you have to order a minimum amount or a certain amount from the printer, for your brochures or something. And then if the price changes, then it looks pretty naff if you're putting a line through it, changing the price. But it's
Right.
expensive to print the stuff. So this way we can just print the quantity we need. And
Yeah.
when it runs out, just,
Read.
there's no waste. There's not as much waste. And you're not waiting
Yeah.
for somebody else, waiting for them to open on Monday to get something done. You can do it the weekend or whenever you want to.
and
Yeah.
we're using Canva now for some of our design.
Okay,
And we design a lot of our stuff. I mean, I've done stuff on Publisher and Canva, and most of our social media ads are designed on Canva.
Okay.
And we just went to the commercial version or whatever it's called of Canva now, and
Oh, the
we
pro version, yeah.
pro version, so we can do even more things, and we can create
I have a lot of
flyers.
templates in there. It's quite useful, that
very
program.
cool.
And you just put in your own pictures and change your wording or whatever. It's quite a useful thing to use.
Okay,
And it's only isn't it like $14 for the year? Was it?
I
How much was it for the
paid,
year?
I think I paid like 120 for the year.
For the whole year.
Okay.
And you get all that publishing stuff and
Yeah.
templates and
Plus
everything.
photos. I mean, they will provide you with the stock
stock
photos,
photos.
Yeah,
so
they
you
don't
don't-
have a line or something written through them.
or you don't get in trouble for using something that was
Copyrighted.
copyrighted.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, for people that don't have the Canva, one, research that because it sounds like a really cool program, but we do have a lot of print marketing options on Elevate now that we have the new market center. So we've got newsletters. Let me just show you guys a couple of things.
And the other thing too that I'll add, for people that want to make their own, just go to Office Depot or whatever it's called these days, and get some of the Avery postcards or trifolds.
Yep.
And you can actually go in on Avery with a template and build it
And
that way
download,
too.
the free template and do your own stuff. So for those that don't want to take the time or don't have the creativity, when you're in the marketing center, there are a lot of different categories of print marketing that you can use. And this is primarily to advertise your open houses, to advertise your listings, to advertise sold properties, but to mail to your sphere. And I told you in the beginning we weren't going to talk a lot about cultivating the sphere, but when it comes to print marketing, that's typically who you want to send your items to, because you want to develop that credibility and get your friends and family and acquaintances to want to use you when they go to buy and sell, or to refer those in their network to you when they hear of someone who wants to buy and sell. So there's a lot of different postcards that you can use in here. There's a for sale by owner postcard. There's listing postcards when you have a listing in the neighborhood. There's sold postcards, postcards that you can blanket a neighborhood with. Are you thinking of selling? And these are all pre-done, so we'll just click on one, and you can put your photo in, you can drop property information. And remember that the power of being part of Equity is that if you don't have your own listings or sales, you can ask another agent in the company if you can send out just listed and just sold cards with their listings and sales. And you say, Equity has sold, Equity has listed, and that can help build your brand as you're getting going. So you just go into the edit toolbar and you can change your name and how it appears. You can change the front side photos, the custom captions. I'll show you kind of what the back of the postcard looks like. Yeah, you can go in here and modify it however you would like it to read. Backside, you can change photos, you can change your picture, your personal message. And then these you can download straight to your computer and print from your home printer. You can email it to an Office Depot or an Office Max. You can send it to Catherine and Robin and they'll print it for you. Or you can do the print and ship option. So if you don't want to have to print it yourself or ship it or mail it yourself, there's a third party in here that can do it. You can share this to Facebook, to Instagram. You can save it, email a copy to your sellers, or to let them know what you're doing to market their property if you're using it as a listing tool. But yeah, jump into this Elevate system and really get familiar with all the different templates that you can use. These door hangers are pretty cool. You have to have the right paper for them. But you can do an open house door hanger. So maybe you're canvassing the neighborhood to promote your open house 2 to 3 days prior and the homeowners aren't home when you knock. You can leave this door hanger on their front door. And it's got a front side and a back side. And again, you can edit that, print it, save it, email it. Just sold door hangers. Home evaluation. So if you're going to go door knocking, trying to find people who want to list their home, you can put this home evaluation door hanger. Just ask, have you thought about selling? Would you like it? Dreaming about a new house? Let's meet for a complimentary home evaluation. And then as far as sending things to your sphere to help build credibility and brand, let's go back to our newsletters. So in here, these newsletters are already designed. Got real estate advisor newsletter, and it's not specific to the Denver market. It's just kind of real estate in general. There's Home Talk. There's Market Watch. And then down here, we upload the custom Equity newsletters that Equity Corporate designs each month. So it's branded, again, with your photo, your contact information, and then the little Equity E logo in the corner. And these are 3 pages long. And again, these are really cool because you can share them to Facebook. You can send them through email, and then you can, of course, download and print and mail out. And again, whatever you decide to do it consistently. So if you're going to send a newsletter, don't just send it once a year, send it every month or every quarter. But you can go back and look at some of the old newsletter contents. And we're attempting to get these designed so that you can go in and actually modify what it says. Right now, you have to take this newsletter the way it's written. There's not editability other than just your agent information. So if you don't like an article, you're kind of stuck with that article. But Equity spends a lot of time trying to pick, articles that would bring some sort of value. So newsletters, those are really good. The other thing I really like that I think everybody should design is a self-promotion brochure. This is a great tool to leave at an open house. This is a great tool to take around when you're door knocking, when you're meeting people, and it just describes who you are, what your message is, why you're valuable in the real estate profession. And it's not wanting to load, but I think I already have one made that I can show you guys here real quick. So on here, it just has professionalism, market knowledge, communication, process, service, and integrity. The font's a little bit small, but you get to type in here. There's pre-written language if you like it, and then you can add in if it doesn't quite suit your needs. But what makes me unique? You get to tell people what makes you unique. If you have any testimonials, what your clients say about you, how you do business, what your philosophy is, what your mission statement is, what your promise is. And there's a couple different templates. But I've seen several of you equity agents do these self-promotion brochures, and they're just a great leave behind that you can take when you're meeting with clients or engaging with the public. So yeah, kind of fun. Why choose me? All right. The other thing that's really powerful for sending out to your sphere is market snapshots and statistics. SMEDRA, DMAR, Colorado Association of Realtors will put out one-page infographics that have little pictures of arrows going up and arrows going down, so you can kind of see days on market changes, price changes. They also have, Colorado Association of Realtors has individual, and I've showed you guys at sales meetings before, individual city and county statistics. So although they aren't neighborhood specific, if someone lives in Littleton or Centennial or Denver, you can send them the Denver County market snapshot, or there's just all-encompassing Denver Metro snapshots that you can send out as well. We talked about just listed, just sold. Use the power of the agents in the company if you don't have your own listings or your sales to be able to kind of market and build credibility that way. And recent sold postcards. If you're not sending out just sold postcards to the neighborhood when you have a listing that sells, I highly advise that you do. The statistic is within 2 weeks of a for sale sign going up or down in a yard, someone within a half-a-mile radius of that house will list their home. So you want them to know that you exist and you'd love the opportunity to get in on interviewing for that position. Social media and lead generation marketing, a couple things that I wanted to show you on this. You know, Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn can be very powerful tools. It's a little more of a passive way of marketing, but it's a great way of building credibility and showing that you're in the industry. So posting information on what's going on in Denver, you know, fun little news statistics or real estate specific statistics in quick little posts. The title companies, every single title company out there can put you on a weekly email list where they will scrub Denver Business Journal, all these different real estate related articles and pull some of the best ones that pertain to Colorado and the Denver market. And so then you don't have to go hunting for them yourself, and you'll get this email on a Monday and you can go through and cut and paste and post into Facebook. You can create contests on Facebook, do trivia questions, do, you know, first 3 people to come to my open house, you know, get something. You can create a YouTube channel and go do video tours of the city and talk about different neighborhoods and talk about different things that you specialize in and post those onto YouTube and share them out through Facebook. The other thing that's kind of fun is your Pro Agent website that you guys all have for free, being part of Equity. There's a cool little tool. I'm going to go to Lori Sanders. She's one of the agents here, and she uses her Pro Agent website. This is kind of what it looks like. So you can search for houses by typing in property type, neighborhood or city, price here in the middle. You can do, you know, favorite things, talk about mortgages, contact, buy, sell. Lori's information is down here. Talks about how she serves and what areas she serves. But one of the things that I love that you can do is you can click the selling button. And on here, it has this box, curious how much your home is worth. find out an approximate value right now. And you can go up to the top of your web browser, and I'll pull this down a little bit, and highlight the link and copy it. So I'm going to cut that, and I'm now going to go over to Facebook. And I'm going to go to my business page, which I rarely use anymore, but we're going to demonstrate how you can utilize that link on your Facebook page to broadcast out to people that if they're curious what the value of their home is, whether they're interested in buying or selling right now, they can go on and get an estimate. So when you paste that link in, of course, this is going to go directly to Lori Sanders' website, so I'm not going to post it, but you're going to use your own website. And so that's what's going to come up on Facebook. And so anybody in your Facebook feed is going to see that. And all they have to do is click on that link. It directs them directly to your website. They can fill out their information and they get kind of an RPR or Zillow type estimate. But what happens is you get a notification that so-and-so requested a market evaluation on their home. And then you can reach out to them and say, hey, thanks for going to my website. Do you need any additional information? And find out whether it's a lead that needs to be cultivated immediately or whether they were just wondering what's going on. But a lot of times we had an agent that sat in this class that I taught 2 years ago, and I showed him how to do this. He immediately left the class, went onto Facebook and did this, and he had 10 listing leads of people that wanted CMAs that clicked through on this. Half of them were just curious about the market. The other half were people that wanted to list their house. He got appointments, got the listing, just from being proactive. It's kind of cool. So that's another thing you can do on Facebook. The other cool free service that you guys could do is, let me see, Housing Trends e-newsletter. So this is another free tool, and you just have to sign up for it. And it's a 1-minute housing market e-newsletter. And so you can put people into this where they receive it via email, or you can just set yourself up to receive it each month. And then you can cut and paste this newsletter into your social media. And so let me see if it has, I might have our, I think the one I have bookmarked is from December. So it's just a quick little national market update, national housing indicators. You can do specific neighborhood reports. You can see what the median home price is in your market. You can see the value of your home. But it talks a lot about national statistics, which I think a lot of times people want to know. It then goes into regional marketing. Talks about mortgage rates. So you can take this newsletter, again, cut and paste into Facebook, and then people can click through and find out what's going on in their neighborhood as well. You can feature.
So what's that value of your home? Is that some other tool that's on your newsletter?
So what they do is they fill out their contact information in their email, and then it comes directly to you.
Okay, so you can do that via this newsletter as well.
Yes. You can feature homes. You can link directly to your website.
Can we take that there, so we would have to subscribe to it, change, customize it, I guess is the word, and then take that link and put it into Buffini and do an e-blast?
You should be able to. Yeah, you should be able to add the link into Buffini. Yeah, and there's a whole back office system on this that allows you to modify. There's only so much that you can customize within the constraints of the program.
You're a pretty couple, but we want us.
But you want your photo. Yes, exactly. So when you go in and you sign up for the free account, you upload your photo, you upload the logo, you upload your contact information, and then every agent's template looks the same as far as layout, but of course it's customized and branded to you. And then they've got the quick links, share to Facebook, share to Twitter, print, email, all over here on the side. So they make it really easy for you. I see I've got a question, looks like, from online. Is any of that copyrighted? Do we need to credit the website? So are you talking about on the Housing Trends newsletter? If you are taking this link and embedding it into an email, it then directs straight to this website, so you don't have to credit. Or if you're going to cut and paste information from it and not link to the actual website, then you can say per housingtrends.com, you know, national real estate sales are at X right now. But yeah, what I was showing you guys is to actually take, and I'll do a quick demonstration, take this link, go over to Facebook, post it in your news feed, like we just did with your Pro Agent website. And then you can select which picture you want to come up. I'm going to do this one. Hide that, hide that. So I'm going to say, check out this month's national and regional market, real estate market statistics.
And will that also have a thing on there which asks you about the value as well?
Well, they get that whole letter, I think, right?
Yep, so I'm just gonna go ahead and post this right now since it goes directly to Facebook. And so it will show you, check out this month's national and regional real estate market statistics. And when you click through, oh, it's not working. Maybe I didn't enter it in right. But normally when you click through, it goes straight to the Housing Trends newsletter. I obviously did not do that correctly. We'll delete that. Sorry, guys. Oh, I know why, because that's a December version, and if they're now into January, so the old link isn't valid anymore. I would need to pull up the January newsletter. That's why I used an old one. So if I had the January one, I'd post that in, and then it would actually link straight through. So Kim, does that answer your question? Since it links straight through, it's not copyrighted, but if you were to go into a newsletter and just grab an article, then you would need to reference the source.
I did have a question. On the Pro website, you were saying near her picture that you could adjust that information. I thought that was set in stone.
So there's a back office where you can go in and you can customize certain aspects of your Pro Agent website. Okay. And you should, if you don't have it, Paul can or Parker can give you your username and your password, and you can go in and upload your photo, upload your contact information, and there's typically an About Me page where you can customize what is said on
so
your experience, your
skills. Right next
skills.
to her picture. That's what I was wondering, if you could customize that, because it seemed like it was pretty.
Yeah, there's certain things you can and can't customize. Yeah, but there are definitely tools in that site that you can modify and change for sure. Yep, for sure. So let me go back here real quick to. Okay, so we talked about Pro Agent website, we talked about Housing Trends newsletter, we talked about pulling statistics from the MLS, from Colorado Association of Realtors, we talked about title company updates in emails where you can get pre-scrubbed articles to post. We also talked about contests on Facebook, creating a YouTube channel. So that's kind of it for social media marketing. There's a ton of social media marketing, of course, that can be done, but those are just a few of the little tips that I had today. There are a couple things I want to say briefly about farming and door knocking. I'm not a huge fan of farming and door knocking. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's not something that I've gravitated towards, but we do have a whole system on door knocking and how to be effective at it. I think what it takes is more than just mailing postcards to houses. I think you need to pick a neighborhood, whether it be your own neighborhood or a neighborhood that you really like and want to spend a lot of time in, and you need to be a big visual component of that neighborhood. Not just through mail, but through hosting summertime barbecues, hosting annual garage sales, joining the HOA board if it's your own neighborhood, so that you can be in charge of the activities, the social events, doing a canned food drive around the holidays. You need to be an integral part of that neighborhood so that they know oh my gosh, they are big into community service. They give back. They're also in real estate. If I have anything real estate related, I know I can go to Robin, or I know I can go to Tracy. But just being the postcard that shows up in the mailbox, I get 5 or 6 of those a week in my mailbox. I just throw them away. I don't look at anything. But I know the realtors who play a big part in the community by doing different events, and people gravitate towards that. And don't be fearful that your neighborhood is already saturated with realtors. There's a lot of different personality types. There's a lot of different ways of doing business, and there's plenty of room for someone to grow into a neighborhood. Don't think, oh, my neighborhood already has 3 realtors that specialize in it. They may not be good realtors. Maybe people don't like them. Maybe people will find a need for your services over their services. So you need to differentiate yourself. That's kind of my thing on farming and door knocking. It's going to take 6 months to a year to ever see any results from this. So you do have to be really, really consistent. On Elevate, we do have some tips on door knocking. If this is your thing and you really, really want to engage in going around and knocking on doors and finding enough people are interested in selling, I've got a door knocking tips, kind of the times of day to do that, how to do it, how to keep track of who you visited, what to say, what to bring with you, what to look out for, dogs, no solicit signs, things like that. Some materials, supplies, expected outcomes, and follow-up. I think there are a lot of things you can do in real estate that have a higher return, but door knocking and farming is one of those things that if you know you're going to need business 5 years from now, start it now, because then you will have a nice steady stream that will come from it. So the last thing I want to talk about is the things that you guys engage in on a daily basis or could be engaging in and using it for business purposes. So what are your hobbies? What are the things that you like to do? Go do them. You want to surround yourself with other people that are like-minded or have similar interests. Do you golf? If you like to golf, go show up by yourself, and you're going to get paired with another 2-some or 3-some people that you don't know that are now going to become potential friends or acquaintances for the time that you're on the golf course. You're inevitably going to talk about, what do you do for work? Tennis, join a tennis team. Play tennis. You like to cycle, you like to run, join a running club. Volunteer.
I don't see sleeping and eating.
If you don't sleep alone or eat alone, then it's approved. Go out to coffee with people, go out to lunch, take people out to dinner. I really like the volunteering one, you know, something that you can do on a weekly or monthly or annual basis that a lot of times people in a volunteer environment, they really like to work together and they value the professions within that volunteer community. And so they will look from within to see if they can find the resources that they need, whether it be a dentist or a doctor. They'll support those within that volunteer world first, which I think is really cool. Do you like to read books? Do you like to hike? Do you like to play poker? Join a club. That's a whole new network. Do you have kids? If you do, use them. You're taking them to soccer. You're taking them to basketball. You're engaging with a lot of other concerned parents. So make sure they know what you do. And whether that be bring buy water bottles from Costco and print equity stickers and hand those out on a 90-degree day when you guys are watching your kids play soccer. It's a great way to get your name out. Like we talked about, Robin, never have coffee alone, never have lunch alone. Take another small business owner out to lunch.
We have a meeting on Saturday morning actually with my daughter Rose with the Rain Club, and we're sponsoring t-shirts and stuff for their gear that they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that will go well, and we're doing something. We said we'd donate some money if we got any referrals from the club.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the club, because it's a non-profit, you know, they need all the donations they can get. So
yeah, wear your name tag, wear your realtor pin. People strike up conversation with you when you're out and about.
We can get that organized and get something going.
But yeah, having little booths at different events for, you know, whatever your kids are involved in. Creating a business mixer, I think that's a really powerful tool. if you can come up with, and that was kind of a Buffini item, if you can come up with other small business owners that need to learn and need to grow and could benefit from referrals, they should be in a business mixer together. Something that you guys can collaboratively come together once a month and sit down, whether it be at Starbucks, at Panera Bread, or here in this conference room, and talk about does everyone at the table need to grow their business? What does an ideal referral look like to each person sitting at this table? And how can we work together? So get 2 people, 3 people, 10 people, something that's manageable. And whether they're, a hairstylist or an accountant or a bakery or a small restaurant, they all want to grow their businesses. And together you can collaborate and say, hey, if I hear of someone looking for this, I will gladly refer them. If you hear of someone looking for a realtor, I hope that I will be that person you refer. During your HOA board, we talked a little bit about that. So that pretty much wraps up, other than, just 7 unique lead sources I wrote down, things that you don't always think about. Do you know any divorce attorneys? Could you get in touch with them?
It's really hard to get, we've been trying to reach out to them.
Very hard.
It's really hard to get to meet to them.
But if you happen to have someone in your sphere that maybe you aren't taking advantage of, but yeah, getting in touch with divorce attorneys, financial advisors, oftentimes they know when people are upsizing, downsizing, kids are going to college, human resource managers, if you can get in with a corporation or a company, they're a great source for referrals. And these take a lot of work, and they take connections, and it's who you know in order to get your foot in the door there. Recruiters, they're helping people find jobs in and out of the state. Property managers of short-term housing. And commercial lenders are another good resource because they're working with investors that are building or buying properties, and they could be in need of a realtor as well. For those of you that are sitting in the room, I've printed out powerful prospecting activities. Tracy, I know I already gave this to you, and listing prospecting checklist. There's 32 listing prospecting items, 105 prospecting activities. There'll be a lot of the things that we discussed today, but these for everybody online are available under the Market Center, under the lead generation tab. And you can print them out, but I'll give you guys these so that you can take them home and kind of make a list of things that you want to do. And are there any questions? That's a lot of material. We covered a lot of stuff. Anybody online got any questions? No? Nicole, thank you for joining. Kim, thank you for joining. Mike, thank you for joining. Who else do we have? Looks like we had a couple people escape here at the end. Thank you guys for being here in person.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, absolutely. And lead generation, little every day. Looks like I might have an online question here. You're welcome, Mike. Thanks for joining us. You're welcome, Nicole.
I wrote down 6 out of the 7. And I was, the 7 unique lead sources.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't quite write fast enough.
Yeah, sorry.
I know you said you were doing the PowerPoint too.
So recruiters, did you get that one?
Yeah, I have divorce attorneys, financial advisors, recruiters. I think I missed one in between there.
Human resource managers. Yep. HR professionals, especially within large corporations, are an excellent lead source.